Anyone on? Nope. Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am going to be redoing my live stream. Got someone in? Do we have? Hold on. Oh, someone. Who's that watching? Comment who's what. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna be redoing my live stream, reading the Michael Crichton Jurassic Park. In case you're wondering what that, sorry, I'm not used to. Anyways, what that really bright spot is, that's my terrarium. Yeah, and this over here in the corner, this future build that I'm planning to do. Yeah. Anyways, so I made some stuff. For this, I made a special bookmark. The logo right here and the name of the channel. Yeah. Alright, so without further ado, we'll get started. What do you guys think? Should I There's a little sticking up. You guys think I should read the prologue first? Comment yes if you think so. Yes, I don't know. Well, dang. Anyways. Alright. Well, I'm gonna get started now. I'm gonna read the prologue first. The tropical rain fell in drenching sheets, hammering the corrugated roof of the clinic building, roaring down the metal gutters, splashing on the ground in a torrent. Roberta Carter sighed and stared at the window. From the clinic, she could hardly see the beach or the ocean beyond. Cloaked in low fog, that was what she had expected when she had come to the fishing village of Bahia Inesco on the west coast of Costa Rica to spend 2 months as a visiting physician. Bobby Carter had expected sun and relaxation after 2 grueling years inside of residency in emergency medicine at Michael Reeson's in Chicago. She had been in Bahia Inesco for now for 3 weeks, and it had rained every day. Everything else was fine. She liked the isolation of Bahia Unesco and the friendliness of its people. Costa Rica had one of 20 best medical systems in the world. And even this remote coastal village, the clinic was well maintained, amply supplied, and paramedic Manuel Aragon and her paramedic Manuel Aragon was intelligent and well trained. Bobby was able to practice a level of medicine equal to what she had practiced in Chicago. But the rain, constant, unending rain. Across the examining room, Manuel cocked his head. Listen, he said. Believe me, I hear it, Bobby said. No, listen. No one watching. And then she caught it. Another sound blended with the rain, a deeper rumble that built and emerged until it was clear. The rhythmic thumping of a helicopter. She thought, they can't be flying in this weather like this. The sound built steadily, and the helicopter burst low through the ocean fog and roared overhead. Circled and came back. She she saw the helicopter swing back over the water near the fishing boats, then ease sideways to the rickety wooden dock and back toward the beach. It was looking for a place to land. It was a big bellied Sikorsky with blue striped on the side with the word engine construction. That was the name of the construction company building a new resort on one of the offshore islands. The resort was said to be spectacular and very complicated. Many of the local people were employed in the construction, which had been going on for more than 2 years. Bobby could imagine it. One of those huge American resorts with swimming pools and tennis courts, where guests uh, could play and drink their daiquiris without having any contact with the real life of the country. Bobby wondered what was so urgent on that island that the helicopter would fly in this weather. Through the windshield, she saw the pilot exhale in relief. She saw the pilot exhale in relief as the helicopter settled onto the wet sand of the beach. Uniformed men jumped down and flung open the big side door. She heard frantic shouts in Spanish, and Manuel nudged her. They were looking for a doctor. Still no one watching? Here, I'm gonna make a poll real quick. Do you guys think that I should do a live stream of me playing Fortnite or a video of it? And in case you guys are wondering, I'm going to be ooh, someone's watching. I'm recording on a computer. Start poll. Who's chatting? Or who's what? Who's watching? I'm gonna continue. Oh yeah, and in case you guys are wondering, I'm reading the prologue, which is not all that important. Two black crewmen carried a limp body toward her, while a white man barked orders. The white man had a yellow slicker. Red hair appeared on the edges of his Mets baseball cap. "Is there a doctor here?" she called to her as she ran up. "I'm Dr. Carter," she said. The rain fell in heavy drops, pounding her head and shoulders. The red-haired man frowned at her. She was wearing cut-off jeans and a tank top. She had a stethoscope over her shoulder. The bell already rusted from the salt air. "Ed Regis, we've got a very sick man here, doctor." "Then you better take him to San Jose," she said. San Jose was the capital, just 20 minutes away by air. We would, but we can't get over the mountains in this weather. You have to treat him here." Bobby trotted alongside the injured man as they carried him to the clinic. He was a kid, no older than 18. Lifting away the blood-soaked shirt, she saw a big slashing rip along his shoulder and another on the leg. "What happened to him?" "Construction accident," Edry just shouted. "He fell. One of the backhoes ran ran over him." "Yes. Okay." The kid was pale, shivering, unconscious. Manuel stood by the green door of the clinic, waving his arm. The man brought the body through and set it on the table in the center of the room. Manuel started an intravenous line. Bobby swung the light over the kid and bent to examine the wounds. Immediately, she could see that it did not look good. The kid would almost certainly die. Big tearing laceration ran from his shoulder down his torso. At the edge of the wound, the fat was shredded. At the center, the shoulder was dislocated, pale bones exposed. A second slash cut through the heavy muscles of the thigh, deep enough to reveal the pulse of the femoral artery below. Her first impression was that his leg had been ripped open. "Tell me again about this injury," she said. "I didn't see it," Ed said. They say the backhoe dragged him, because it almost looks like as if he was mauled," Bobby Carter said. Probing the wound, like most emergency room physicians, she could remember in detail patients she had seen even years before. She had seen two maulings. One was a 2-year-old child who had been attacked by a Rottweiler, and the other was a drunken circus attendant who had encountered with a Bengal tiger. Both injuries were similar. There was a characteristic look to an animal attack. "Mauled," Ed said. No, no, no. It was a backhoe, believe me." Two people now. Ed licked his lips as he spoke. He was edgy, acting if he had done something wrong. Bobby wondered why. If they were using insult all the time, Manuel said. Do you want lavage?" "Yes," she said. "After you block him." She bent lower, probbed the wound with her fingertips. If an if an earth mover had rolled him over, dirt would be forced deep into the wound. But there wasn't any dirt, just slippery, slimy foam. And the uh, wound had a strange odor, a kind of rotten stench, a smell of death and decay. She had never smelled anything like it before. How long ago how long ago did this happen? An hour? Again, she noticed how tense Ed Regis was. He was one of those eager, nervous types, and he hadn't looked like a construction foreman, m- more th- more like an executive. He was obviously out of his depth. Bobby Carter turned back to the injury. Somehow she didn't think she was seeing medical trauma. It just didn't look right. No soil contamination of the wound site and no crush injury component. The mechanical trauma of any sort auto injury. A factory accident almost always had some component of crushing, but there was none. Instead, the man's skin was shredded, ripped across his shoulder, and again across his thigh. It really did look like a mall. And one on the other hand, most of the body was unmarked, which was unusual for an animal attack. She looked again at the head, the arms, the hands. She felt a chill when she looked at the kid's hands. There was a short slashing. There were short. There were short slashing. Chat. I can't talk. There were short slashing cuts on both palms and bruises on the wrists and forearms. She had worked in Chicago long enough to know what that meant. All right, she said, wait outside. Why? Ed said, alarmed. He didn't like that. Do you do you want me to help him or not? She said, and pushed him out of the door and closed it on his face. She didn't know what was going on, but she didn't like it. Manuel hesitated. I continue Tosh? Yes, she said. She reached for her Olympus point and shoot. She she took several snapshots of the injury, sh- shifting her light for a better view. It really did look like bites, she thought. Then the kid groaned, and she put her camera aside and bent toward him. His lips moved, his tongue his tongue thick. Chat, I know about dinosaurs and I don't judge me. Raptor, he said. Losaraptor. At those words, Manuel froze, stepped back in horror. What does it mean? Bobby said. Manuel shook his head. I don't know, doctor. Raptor, no español. No, it sounded to her like Spanish. Poppy, Juniper, it's my dogs. Who left? Oh, someone's still here. All right, I'll continue reading. Where was I at? Yeah. Then please continue to wash him. No, doctor. He wrinkled his nose. Bad smell, and he crossed himself. Bobby looked again at the slippery foam streaked across the wound. She touched it, rubbing it between her fingers. It seemed almost like saliva. The injured boy's lips moved. Raptor, he whispered, in a tone of horror. Manuel said, it bit him. What bit him? Raptor. What is a raptor? It means hopia. Bobby frowned. The Costa Ricans were not especially superstitious, but she had heard the hopia mentioned in the village before. They were they were said to be night ghosts, faceless vampires, who who kidnapped small children according to the belief of the Hopia had once lived in the mountains of Costa Rica, but now inhabited the islands offshore. Manuel was backing away, murmuring and crossing himself. It is it is not normal, he said. It is the Hopia. Bobby was about to order him back to work when he get back to work when injured youth the injured youth opened his eyes and sat straight up on the table. Manuel shrieked in terror. The injured boy moaned and twisted his head, looking left and right, with wide staring eyes, and then he explosively vomited blood. He went immediately into convulsions, his body vibrating. And Bobby grabbed for him, but he shredded shredded off the table onto the concrete floor. He vomited again. There was blood everywhere. Ed opened the door, saying, "Crap." Um, Hold up. What the heck's happening? And when he saw the blood, he turned away, his mouth to his hand. Bobby was grabbing for a stick to put in the boy's clenched jaws. But even as she did it, she knew it was hopeless. And with a final spastic jerk, he relaxed and lay still. She bent to perform mouth to mouth, but Manuel grabbed her shoulder fiercely, pulling her back. No, he said. The Hopia will cross over. Manuel, for God's sake. No, he stared at her fiercely. No, you don't understand these things. Bobby looked at the ground and realized that it didn't matter. There was no possibility of rescuing rescutating him. Uh, Manuel called for the men, who came back to the room and took the body away. Ed appeared, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, muttering, "I'm sorry, you did all you could." And then helicopter watched, and then she watched the helicopter as the men took the body away, back to the helicopter, and it lifted thunderously up into the sky. "It is better," Manuel said. Bobby was thinking about the boy's hands. They had been covered with cuts and bruises, and the characteristic pattern of defense wounds. She was quite sure he had not died in a construction accident. It had been an attack. He had been attacked, and he held up his hands against his attacker. Where is this? Where's this island they come from? She asked. In the ocean, perhaps 120 miles offshore. Pretty far for a resort, she said. Manuel watched the helicopter. I hope they never come back. Well, she thought, at least she had pictures, but when she turned back to the table, she saw that her camera was gone. The rain finally stopped later that night, alone in the bedroom behind the clinic. Bobby fumbled through her tattered paperback Spanish dictionary. It's an awesome book. Good job. Thank you. Where was it? Oh, yeah. The boy had said raptor, and despite Manuel's protests, she suspected it was a Spanish word. Sure enough, she had it in her dictionary. It meant ravisher or abductor. That gave her that gave her pause. The sense of the word was suspiciously close to the meaning of hupia. Of course, she did not believe in superstition, and no ghost had cut those hands. What what had the boy had what had the boy been trying to tell her? From from the next room, she heard groans. One of the village women was in the first stage. One of the village women was in first stage labor. Elena Elena Morales, the local midwife, was attending her. Bobby went into the clinic room and gestured to Elena to step outside for a moment. El- Elena, see, doctor? Do you know what is a raptor? Elena was a gray-haired and 60, a strong woman with a practical, no-nonsense air. In the night beneath the stars, she frowned and said, "Raptor." Yes, you know this word? See, Elena nodded. It means a person who comes in the night and takes away a child. A kidnapper? Yes. A, hupi, a hupia. Her whole manner changed. Do not say this word, doctor. Why not? Do not speak of hupia now, Elena said firmly, nodding her head toward the groans of the laboring woman. It is not wise to say this word now. Okay, I forgot to do my exit. It is not wise to say this word now. But does a raptor bite and but does the raptor bite and cut his victims? A bite and cut, Elena said, puzzled. No, doctor, nothing like this. A raptor is a man who takes a new baby. She seemed irritated by the conversation, impatient to end it. Elena started to Elena started back toward the clinic. I will call to you when she is ready, doctor. I think one one hour more, perhaps two. Bobby looked at the stars and listened to the peaceful lapping of the surf at the shore. In the darkness, she saw the shadows of the fishing boats anchored offshore. The whole scene was quiet, so normal. She felt foolish to be talking of vampires and kidnapped babies. Bobby went back to her room, remembering again that Manuel had insisted it was not a Spanish word. Out of curiosity, she, she looked in the English dictionary, and to her surprise, she found the word there too. Raptor. Uh, I don't know how to read this. It's all just a bunch of gibberish to me right there. Raptor, bird of prey. There we go. First iteration. At the at the earliest drawings of the fractal curve, few clues to the underlying mathematical structure will be seen. Ian Malcolm. Son. Mike Bowman whistled cheerfully as he drove the Land Rover through the Cabo Blanco, Blanco Biological Reserve. On the west coast of Costa Rica. It was a beautiful morning in July, and the cliff road before him was a spectacular hugging. Uh, my mom requires me to go eat some steak. I'll be back in a few. See you guys. I'll be back in a few. While you're waiting, I would grind on Fortnite. All right, I'm back. Ugh. Convince her to let me eat my food while I'm live streaming. They're awesome parents. Yeah, having a steak and mac and cheese. All right, get the show on the road. Mike Bowman whistled cheerfully as he drove the Land Rover through the Blanco Biological Preserve on the west coast of Costa Rica. It was a beautiful morning in July, and the road before him was spectacular, hugging the edge of a cliff, overlooking the jungle and the. Thought there was something behind him. According to the guidebooks, Cabo Blanco was unspoiled wilderness, almost a paradise, seeming how it made Bowman feel as if the vacation was back on track. Bowman, a 36-year-old real estate developer from Dallas, had come to Costa Rica with his wife and daughter for a 2-week holiday. The trip had actually been his wife's idea for weeks. Ellen had filled his ear about the wonderful national parks of Costa Rica and how good it would be for Tina to see them. Then when they arrived, it turned out Ellen had an appointment to see a plastic surgeon in San Jose. That was that was Mike's that was the first Mike Bowman had heard about the excellent inexpensive plastic surgery available in Costa Rica and all the luxurious private clinics in San Jose. Of course, they'd had a huge fight. Mike felt she'd lied to him, and she put his foot down in the plastic surgery business away. It was a ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Ellen was only 30, and she was a beautiful woman. Heck, she'd been homecoming queen her senior year at Rice, and that was not even 10 years earlier. But Ellen tended to be insecure and worried, and it seemed as if in recent years she had mostly worried her about losing her looks. That and everything else. The Land Rover bounced in a pothole, splashing mud. Seated beside him, Ellen said, "Mike, are you sure this is the right road? We haven't seen any other people for hours." "There was another car 15 minutes ago," he reminded her. "Remember the blue one? Going the other way?" "Darling, you wanted a deserted beach," he said. "And that's what you're gonna get." Ellen shook her head doubtfully. "I, I hope you're right." "Yeah, Dad, I hope you're right," said Christina from the back seat. She was 8 years old. "Trust me, I'm right." He drove in silence a moment. Fun fact: in reality, the little girl from Lost Wood, Kathy Bowman, in this story is called Christina, but Kathy Bowman in the Lost World. Just wanting to let you know how much of a Jurassic Park nerd I am. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at the view. It's beautiful. It's it's okay, Tina said. Ellen got got out a compact and looked at herself in the mirror. Pressing under her eyes, she sighed and put the compact away. The road began to descend, and Mike Bowman concentrated on driving. Suddenly, a small black shape flashed across the road, and Tina shrieked, "Look, look!" Then it was gone into the jungle. "What was it?" Ellen said. "A monkey? Maybe a squirrel monkey," Bowman said. Can I count it? Tina said, taking her pencil out. She was keeping a list of all the animals she had seen on her trip as a project for school. I don't know, Mike said doubtfully. Tina consulted the pictures in the guidebooks. I don't think it was a squirrel monkey, she said. I think it was just another howler. They had seen several howler monkeys already on their trip. Hey, she said more brightly, according to this book, the beaches of Cabo Blanco are frequented by a variety of wildlife, including howler and white-faced monkeys, three-toed sloths, and coach imundus. You'll think we'll see a three-toed sloth, Dad? I bet we do. Really? Just look in the mirror. Very funny, Dad. The road sloped downward through the jungle toward the ocean. Good dinner. Mike Bowman felt like a hero when they finally reached the beach. A 2-mile crescent of white sand, utterly deserted when he parked the Land Rover in the shade of the palm trees that fringed the beach and got out the lunch boxes. Ellen changed into her bathing suit, saying, "Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get this weight off." "You look great, hun, actually." He felt that she was too thin, but he had learned not to mention that. Tina was already running down the beach. "Don't forget you need your sunscreen," Ellen said. Later, Tina shouted over her shoulder, "I'm going to see if there's a sloth." Ellen Bowman looked around the beach and the trees. "You think she's all right?" "Honey, there's nobody from here for miles," Mike said. "What about snakes?" "Oh, for God's sake," Mike Bowman said. "There's no snakes on a beach." "Well, there might be." "Honey," he said firmly, "snakes are cold-blooded. They're reptiles. They can't control their body temperatures. It's 90 degrees on that sand. If a snake came out, it would be cooked. Believe me, there's no snakes on the beach." He watched his daughter scampering down the beach, a dark spot on the white sand. "Let her go. Let her have a good time." He put his wrist around his wife's waist. Tina ran until she was exhausted, and then she threw herself down onto the sand and gleefully rolled to the water's edge. The ocean was warm, and there was hardly any surf at all. She sat for a while, catching her breath, and then she looked back toward her parents and the car to see how far she had come. Her mother waved, beckoning her to return. Tina Tina waved back cheerfully, pretending she didn't understand. Tina didn't want to put sunscreen on, and she didn't want to go back and her mother talk about losing and go back and hear her mother talk about losing weight. She wanted to stay right here. Maybe she'd see a sloth. Tina had seen a sloth 2 days earlier at the zoo in San Jose. It looked like a Muppets character, and and it seemed harmless. In any case, Thomas. In any case, it couldn't move fast. She could easily outrun it. Now her mother was calling to her, and Tina decided to move out of the sun from the water to the shade of the palm trees in this part of the beach. The palm trees overhung a gnarled tang- tangle of mangrove roots, which blocked any attempt to penetrate inland. Tina sat in the sand and kicked the dried mangrove leaves. She noticed many bird tracks in the sand. Costa Rica was famous for its birds. The guidebook said there were three times as many birds in Costa Rica as in all of America and Canada. And the sand in the sand, some of the three-toed bird tracks were small, and so faint they could hardly be seen. Other tracks were large and cut deeper in the sand. Tina was looking idly at the tracks when she heard a chirping, followed by a rustling in the mangrove thicket. Did sloths make a chirping sound? Tina didn't think so, but she wasn't sure. The chirping was probably some ocean bird. She waited quietly, not moving, hearing the rustling again, and finally she saw the source of the sounds. A few yards away, a lizard emerged from the mangrove roots and peered at her. Tina held her breath. A new animal for her list. The animal stood up on its hind legs, balancing on its thick tail. It stared at her, standing like that. It was almost a foot tall, dark green with brown stripes along its back. Its tiny front legs ended in little lizard fingers that wiggled in the air. The lizard cocked at its head at as it looked at her. Tina thought it was cute, sort of like a big salamander. She raised her hand and wiggled her fingers back. The lizard wasn't frightened. It came toward her, walking upright on its hind legs. It was hardly bigger than a chicken, and like a chicken, it bobbed its head as it walked. Tina thought it would make a wonderful pet. She noticed that the lizard left three-toed tracks that looked exactly like the bird tracks. The lizard came closer to Tina. She kept her body still, not wanting to frighten the little animal. She was amazed at it. It would come so close, but she remembered that it was a national park. All the animals in the park would know pro- that they were protected. This lizard was probably tame. Maybe it even expected her to give it some food. Unfortunately, she didn't have any. Slowly, Tina extended her the palm open to show she didn't have any food. The lizard paused, cocked its head, and chirped. Sorry, Tina said. I just don't have anything. And then, without without warning, the lizard jumped up onto her outstretched hand. Tina could feel its little toes pinching the skin of her palm, and she felt the surprising weight of the animal's body pressing her arm down. And then the lizard scrambled up her arm toward her face. I wish, I wish I could see her. I wish I could. I just wish I could see her. Ellen Bone. Oh, Alan Bowman said, squinting in the sunlight. That's all. Just see her. That's all. Just see her. I'm sure she is fine. Mike said, picking through the box lunch packed by the hotel. There was an unappetizing grilled chicken and some kind of meaty filled pastry. Not that Ellen would eat any of it. You, you don't think she'd leave? You don't think she'd leave the beach? Ellen said. No, hun, I don't. I feel so isolated here. Ellen said. I, I, I thought that's what you wanted, Mike Bowman said. I did. Well, then, what's the problem? I just wish I could see her, is all, Ellen said. Then, from down the beach, carried by the wind, they heard her daughter's voice. She was screaming. Holy cow. Oh, crap. There. There's my bookmark. Well, I'm gonna go hang out with my family for a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed my live stream. I will bring up a post asking when you guys want me to post a part 2, chapter 2 for Jurassic Park. And actually chat yes in the comments if you want me to. I'll just pull up a poll. Let your viewers weigh in. Alright, since people said yes. With that, should I do a part 2 for the novel? I did. It's not. There. Alright. I'm gonna end my live stream here. And I will see you guys next time. Or, yeah, actually, I'm gonna pull up in the community tab that a question. That question. Sorry, my voice keeps cracking. All right, I will see you guys later. Enjoy your week, or some of us, like Mason in the comments, weekend. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.